Good y'all, Fuzion here, back with another reaction video. Today we're going to be reacting to some first take, the new resting rules for the NBA. They're going to be talking about it here, so I'll just go over it from there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started.
For making time. And I want to start with you here, Perk. How are you feeling about this decision?
Oh, I love it. But are we surprised? Are we surprised that the NBA and Adam Silver are cleaning house right now? No. This is a business, right? And when First Take just came back from commercial break, I just saw presented and sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, right? Okay, so at the end of the day, when I listened to Adam Silver yesterday in his press conference and he talked about this situation, two words stood out to me. He talked about the fans, he mentioned them several times, and he also he's mentioned the sponsors, his partners, right? And so when I think about this business of the NBA, it comes down to one thing.
For some reason, they didn't talk about exactly what the resting rules were at the beginning, but I'm just go over them just real quick. So the league now can fine teams starting at $100,000 for resting star players in national televised and in-season tournament games, or for resting multiple star players during the same game. That has always been the issue lately in the NBA, players needing to get resting for no reason, just sitting, and I can see how that could be an issue for the NBA and for people losing money. The beginning of the season of the NBA is good, not great. That mid-season, that's where we get a lot of like the fall off, where people really don't watch as many games. I think a lot of it is because it's like November and December. November, Thanksgiving is all about football. Even in December, it was pretty much all about football. So I understand why a lot of teams would be willing to sit like their players, and I think that does have some sort of correlation. It's like if you are the Clippers and you're playing against the Pistons, of course you're not gonna play Kawhi and Paul George at the same time when you're winning a lot of games. You're gonna let them rest. They are both injury-prone stars, and I think that little bit of rest is helpful. But that being said, I don't think that they should be sitting as much as they do if it has nothing to do with them being injured. I think just rest for rest's sakes isn't good for the game, because it could make them, again, lose money. People are there to see the stars, not Grayson Allen, not Bojan Bogdanovic. To be honest, nobody gives a shit about those players. Everybody cares about the star players. Again, Paul George, LeBron, AD, Jason Tatum. Just imagine, and I think this is a quote from Kobe. He always said this. Just imagine a kid coming to watch their favorite player, and their favorite player isn't playing because they're tired. I think that's crazy. So that's pretty much what the rule is. And again, I agree with Kendrick Perkins to a certain extent. I don't believe that you should just be resting just because. But I do think that there's a lot of games. I think they need to cut the games down, and I think adding the in-season tournament will just add more injuries, because people are going to have to play hard during that in-season tournament. There is a trade-off for it. I think it's going to be more entertaining, but I also do think that players are going to add a lot more tread than they would for just playing just during the regular season. that's my thoughts on it. Hopefully I did explain it well. But let's go ahead and continue.
Money.
Come on, bro.
And Stephen A., you said it best yourself
Get
on the
perked
interview
up.
about a year and a half ago. You wake up every day to see how you can make your boss's money and then see how you could get some of it. And this is the same thing with the NBA. Fans pay for their hard-earned money to come to arenas, to see superstars, to hit the concession stands, to do what they do. And also, you look at partnerships. They pay their money, whether it's for sponsorship packages on jerseys or whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, Adam Silver has to clean house and clean up the crib to make sure that it's not affecting the business of the NBA.
We hear that all the time about the NBA being a business. But I found some new information. So actually, of course, at the beginning, like they were trying to clamp down on the load management, holding teams. I do know that limits how often teams can rest their players. Excuse me. So there is an option to rest players. The league will pre-approve load management for stars who are 35 years old by open nights or have amassed 34,000 regular season minutes or a combined 1,000 regular season and playoff time. 7 players that fit that description headline, of course, is LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Paul George, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, and Mike Conley. They will have the exception of the rule, so they get pre-approved sick time, and apparently they will be also like determining those who have extensive injury histories as well may be approved, but that's a case-by-case basis. So it does seem like that you have to put in time for you to get some time off. I guess it works just like some vacation time. If you want to get some load management, then you have to play these certain amount of hours and do this and do this, or you have to be old enough like to qualify for that. I think it's interesting that LeBron made that cut, and yeah, all right. I mean, of course he's one of the older players, but I feel like if you're trying to get rid of load management, I think it would be better to attack those star players like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron. You know, but that's just my thoughts on that part. But it does sound like it makes sense. It makes sense for them to have to earn that load management time. It's just not given out. Like you have to earn just like you have to earn your time off. They have to earn that, and I think it will be good because it will force players to play more for them to earn that time off, and I think that people will be playing overall better. So yeah.
I completely agree with you. I'm incredibly happy that the NBA is doing it. The only thing I'm dissatisfied with is that the penalties would be more punitive for violators. Because as far as I'm concerned, I think an even heavier hand needed to be brought down. I'm not sure they were capable of doing it. It's something that they have to discuss with the Players Association, I'm quite sure. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, something needs to be done. But in the interest of fairness, KP, it's good to see you, Big Perk. It's good to see you, my brother. In the interest of fairness, I think it's important to bring up the fact that this ain't all on the players. There's coaches that instigated all this. We all know that Greg Pop.
Yeah, so they're just gonna keep talking about it. I agree. I think the coaches have a lot to do with it as well, willing to rest their players. But I also get it. I think if you've been a coach for a long time, or even if you've been a manager for a long time, just in your regular work, it is important to rest. If your best player is playing 40 minutes and he's putting up 35, 10, and 7, you're not going to be able to do that for 82 games plus playoffs and not get some sort of injury. I think resting is okay. I do think Greg Popovich pushed it a little far with the resting. I think he was the main guy who would over rest his players, but during that time, the Spurs were always quite successful. 100,000. I think that's a good starting point. This would be the first season where this rule will be active, so I don't think it's good to see who will test the waters or who will try to push like the boundary at first. So throwing that $100,000 will be a great beginning to see who is willing to pay that fine, and then from there you could see that going up to 300,000 or 500,000. But I think 100,000 is a good starting point. That's just my thoughts on it. I understand, again, I'm gonna keep saying this because I understand the reason behind load management, but I also feel like there has to be a better way of introducing load management. And I think adding that, you have to play this amount of hours for you to earn that, I think that's fair, honestly.
Popovich instigated a lot of this because of his disdain for the league and in particular former Commissioner David Stern when it came to them scheduling back-to-backs. I'm not talking about their personal relationship with each other. That's for, Greg Popovich to discuss. Obviously, David Stern is no longer here, and Greg Popovich may never elect to really elaborate on that. But I'm just talking about the issue of scheduling back-to-backs and stuff like that. Greg Popovich was highly turned off by that. I'll never forget as long as I live how the San Antonio Spurs had a game in Orlando, Florida. And the next night of a back-to-back, they had a nationally televised game against Miami. Now, Greg Popovich could have sent his players home, some of them, fine. You could do that, right? Last time I checked, these brothers fly charter, all of this other stuff. Molly, this man sent Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker home via Southwest Airlines. They were on a flight. They were en route to a flight from Orlando to San Antonio on Southwest Airlines. How do we know? We are doing the NBA shows, and people are tweeting and going crazy all over social media, whatever it was. Why? Because these brothers are standing in line at a Chick-fil-A. That's how most of us found out that they wanted to.
All right, it does seem like they're not really going to talk about it more, but like I stated, I think it's a good rule. I think it does need some tweaking as well, but this is the first year, so we'll see how it goes. Tell me what you guys think about in the comments below. I'm very interested on what you guys think about this, because this will change a lot on how basketball will be consumed and how the NBA will be looked at, I think, from the beginning. Because everybody says, the only time to really watch it is at the beginning and during the playoffs. I'm wondering now that it will probably be more competitive this year than it has been during the regular season. So I'm wondering if that will increase more view and people will care more about it during the regular season. So yeah, as well as once we get closer to when does preseason start? Me and Whitty will be going over the the different divisions, and then we're just gonna be talking about what we think about them, how we're gonna rank them, that type of stuff. That will be up starting soon in October. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.